Hey everybody, welcome back to the second game of the first day of the Black Twitch League Season 11, the inaugural day. I am Yanni. I am here with one of the greatest players from the last game, E9.
Stop.
Yeah, not the last game, not the last game that was game one here, but the last match before, killing it on that Kaisa. I wasn't here for the first game, but I heard really good things out of your first game. So
Yeah,
that's
the first game I was a little bit more impactful. The second game I just kind of farmed a lot.
Listen, sometimes you got to farm and be a bonus player, but we are into picks and bans. Glacial Globals, they're on the blue side this time after their game one victory that was really championed by that Tristana, I feel, even though they had great team fighting. Meanwhile, Maria's Dungeon put up a good fight with their high CC composition. It just was not able to come together. So they've already run through the first three bans. It's Lulu Aphelios Graves for Glacial Globals. For Maria's Dungeon, it's Akali Ash Viego, the first pick for Glacial Globals. Shen, and right now Maria's Dungeon hovering a Scion.
Yeah, Glacial wanting to take away the Shen. Didn't last game didn't see too much impact from the Stand United,
Yeah.
so I don't actually mind it being taken away from Maria's Dungeon too much. Hopefully he's able to do a little bit more with the Scion pick.
Yeah, I feel like Olive Inting watched Hacksaw play and was like, I could do this so much better. Scion
Yeah.
locked in. Kaisa, personal favorite of yours, I feel, was
Oh
selected
yeah.
for the side of Maria's Dungeon. So a lot of tankiness and quite a bit of damage and shiftiness. Side note, really excited for that Kaisa buff to her supercharge.
Yeah, I think that's live right now.
Oh, is it actually live? I thought it was next patch.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think it's currently live, yeah.
I'm a listen. I'm still stuck in season 4 and season 5 when I play. All right, so forgive me for being a little bit behind on the patch notes. I only just started looking at the patch notes within the last 6 months when I started casting. So it's like,
That's
yeah,
fine.
that's it.
That's
The
why I'm
only
here.
time, yeah, now I'm trying to actually pay attention to things. So good champion still. I'm happy that she's starting to come back a little bit. I actually liked it when she was heavily in the meta. Vayne Nautilus for Glacial Globals. These are some thick boys and one tank killer. Very, very scary, especially a Vayne Shen combo. Ooh.
Yeah, Vayne is pretty much the older version of Kaisa. But I do think she's pretty well in the lane matchup, specifically into Kaisa. Able to beat her out in the dueling most of the time, and going to be able to shred the Scion in the team fights later on.
Listen to me. You put some respect on Vayne's name.
She is outdated,
Her
dude. I played both
old
of them
Kaisa.
today.
How is she outdated when you played both of them today? A champion like Sona, I could see as being outdated because Seraphine was just better up until
Come
these
on, they
buffs.
just buffed her.
Oh, her buffs are actually insane. People don't know that her abilities that are on cooldown can go on a 0.5 second cooldown. It's actually insane. She's she kind of reminds you of old Rise whenever you would hit something and reduce the cooldowns of your other abilities.
That
Except
was.
except she's just smacking on her Etoile, I think it's pronounced or whatever.
I don't know what it's called.
Not quite sure. Hooks are wild here. As Thresh, the last pick of the first half of the draft for Maria's Dungeon. I am a huge Thresh aficionado. I have Thresh on my wallpaper. I have Thresh on a hoodie. I have one of those wall arts that are the 5 different pieces. It's Darkstar Thresh. I love this champion. So much utility. So much cool plays that you can do with blast plants and blind hooks. And they had to take 5 movement speed away from my boy.
Yeah, these team comps do seem to be mirroring each other, though. The Hecarim will be locked in. Not particularly in the meta, but we'll see what Glacial responds with.
What is this, 6 months ago? For reference, the last 2 bans of Glacial Globals were Victor Kindred, and on the side of Maria's Dungeon, they opted for Orianna Lee Sin as the bans. I love me some Orianna. It's a shame we're not going to be able to see her. Jarvan, I believe, is the hover currently. Let me tell you something. I am not sure where this Jarvan's going to go. I would assume that it's going to be a jungle Jarvan, because River Shen is kind of dead. I'm never sold on a Jarvan pick anymore.
Maybe if it was Expo mid lane, I'd think it would be Jarvan mid, but I think here is in the jungle with that Viger lock-in.
And there's a friend of mine that I know is probably watching, and he knows that I'm not particularly sold on Jarvan. Because most people build him, like, I just feel like his full damage build is just too frail. At least in this game, it would make sense. You already have 2 tanks in the way of Shen and Nautilus, so it's okay to go, like, get your full damage, get your Gore Drinker, and get your Sterix, and, like, be beefy that way. But I don't know. I'm just never sold on him anymore. But I'm happy we have some heavily ganking junglers. We'll be able to get some action here. Not sure what that last pick was. If we can get confirmation here.
Yeah, never saw is pretty confident blind picking Vigar. We'll
Ooh.
see if Expo can punish it.
The last pick is a mid lane Cassiopeia. Oof, I haven't seen a Cassiopeia in a very, very long time. So this Vigar Cassiopeia. I've played many of these champions in the past, and man, I hate playing against Cassiopeia's Vigar. Vigar's so slow, Cassiopeia is so fast. She slithers, she's serpentine.
Yeah,
But
it is going to be pretty easy to gank though with the Jarvan.
oh,
at least.
absolutely. Yeah,
And
so
they did seem to like that.
I like the way the team comms kind of shook out. You've got your hard engaged through Hecarim and Scion, your main damage in Kaisa and Cassiopeia, and Thresh off tanking, providing a lot of CC and utility as well. If you give the opportunity for Cassiopeia, you give her a nice front line, you do the engagement, keep the other team on the back foot, she will rip through the team like tissue paper. Meanwhile, the side of Glacial Globals, if they're doing something, they're certainly scaling. I'm not sure how I feel about the heavily ganking jungler with a champion like Veigar and Vayne, who are going to need the time to scale. However, the CC is there. Nautilus gets some roams off. Like, that battery of Jarvan Nautilus can really get you some kills and accelerate these champions into the late game.
Yeah, they could just be picking the Jarvan to sort of bridge together that early to mid game and make sure that nothing crumbles too much. Just try to survive until they do reach those 2-3 item power spikes where they could really start to take over.
Yeah, and it's going to be so hard to stop them from getting there, right? Especially because of how tight the first game was. Like, you can see that these teams are fairly evenly matched. Glacial Globals, it seems like their map play was a little bit better. But it feels like with the composition of Maria's Dungeon, they can kind of create a lot of discord between that. They can kind of interrupt the sharp macro play of the Glacial Globals with this sort of a team composition. So we'll have to see. It's really going to be on Darkfire to make some plays. I like what he did on the Amumu. Unfortunately, it just seemed like it wasn't as impactful as you wanted it to be because of how strong the main 2 members were for Glacial Globals.
Yeah, Expo is given counterpick both of these games. Was being pretty disrespectful to the jungler first game. I would like to see that change for this game.
Especially since they've got no escape.
Yeah.
You are a snake that can only you're playing, you ever play Snake, the game, with the little dots and the snake that's like that. It takes you a while. You can't just go back. It takes you a while to get into another direction. That's kind of like the escapability of this Cassiopeia here. It's very difficult. And you can get run down by this team pretty quickly.
Yeah, aside from that, these teams are really the same pretty much, except for the Vigar and the Cassio. The Cassio is going to be doing a little bit more damage, while the Vigar is going to have that cage and try to stop some of the engage.
Love me that Event Horizon, such a good ability. I miss the days where it was instant. I really do.
Oh, I do not miss those days.
I played Veigar level 1 to level 30 back in like season 2 and season 3. And man, the point and click, you could point and click everything. And I mean, it was good for me because like I'm not ashamed to admit this. Back in the day, I used to click my abilities and then click on the screen.
I would be ashamed to admit that.
Well, I used to play World of Warcraft. And that's what I did. I was a clicker in World of Warcraft. I didn't use my keybinds. I clicked. I don't know why. I just did it. I was comfortable with it. It was not terrible. I was a decent DPS on a pretty solid server. So I was like, all right, cool. And people would make fun of me for it, but whatever. But in League, I don't know why. And then one of my buddies is like, why are you not able to get your combo out as fast as you should be? Like, well, I can only click so fast. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, like the time it takes for me to go click the ability, click the champion, click. He's like, what are you doing? Like, what do you mean? He goes, hit the buttons and try. I killed somebody in like a half of a second. I'm like, oh, I get it. I played lock screen at that time too. But you know what? Maybe
Hey,
I
I don't
should have
mind some
settled
lock
that.
screen. I
I'm
kind of like
actually,
it.
yeah, I got to diamond playing lock screen. It was crazy. I loved it. I told one of my Rioter friends, and he's like, "I cannot believe you have done that. All we do is talk about how bad lock screen is." And I'm like, "Yeah, man." But oh man, I miss the days of Vagar. Deathfire Grasp too. Oh my god.
um, I should be happy about this because I did use the main mid lane. I still kind of do. I'm
Same.
just kind of playing AD carry on the side, but I don't miss that on Vigar. His
Oh,
point and click
absolutely not.
Q.
It's so dumb, so stupid, so busted. But you know what? I'm actually I feel I gotta go hide from my embarrassment right now. All right, so I'm gonna go do that while we go and wait for the spectator delay and wait to get into the game. Because now I'm getting Discord messages on the side about people laughing at me. So I'm
Oh,
just gonna go. Okay, we'll see you soon. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for hanging out with us here for the last series, potentially the last game of the first day of season 11 of the Black Twitch League. I am the one of the casters, Yanni. I am here with Inai, as a ward has been spotted early on, and the team is back off.
Predator on the Vigar. I'm not. Wait, he hasn't started any items.
Excuse me?
Neither is Shen.
Wait a minute. Hold on. That can't be
This is a
right.
bug? Why is there so many people with no items?
I feel like this is a bug. Because I have two screens up. Full disclosure, I have two screens up here. Both of them watching the game. And there are some champions that are invisible on one of my screens that are visible on the other, or not visible on the other one. And you know, something don't feel quite right here.
Oh, hopefully that's a bug.
I feel like this is a spectator bug.
Yeah, hopefully 4 people didn't forget to buy items. But I guess we'll see if Hecarim gets level 2 or not.
Oh, this is definitely a spectator bug. Look at the gold totals.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
has
it is.
500, but each team apparently has 5. All right, we're playing Super League, baby. Look at all this gold. 200 gold lead a minute and 50 seconds in. It's wild. It's insane. This is gonna be hard. All right, well.
Expo already getting some attention mid lane.
Engagement on the Sejin here in the bot lane, and Kiri getting the better of that. So much poke going down. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, and in the mid lane, Expo is already down to half HP from that mid gank. Not the best start. A little bit annoying for him. He doesn't have the TP to just get back in lane. He did opt for the cleanse. Definitely needed against the Vigar.
Yeah, and especially after the game that you had earlier, look for an engagement onto the Hecarim. He's only level 2. That was a great cage. You know, if they don't kill the Hecarim, they're going to at least force him out. But now, Expo, can you find the kill onto Dong D? The smite goes down, so the healing is there for the Jarvan. And the Hecarim, along with the Cassiopeia, will back off. And to the winner go the spoils there, as Jarvan will be able to pick up those chickens. Look at all those chickens. That one's really going after Jarvan. That one, I'm not a fan.
He did just leave one. It's kind of messed up.
He did leave 2. He left him a buddy.
Okay.
Darkfire on top of the blue buff right now. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, a bit of an engagement going on as Kiri putting down a lot of damage onto this Thresh, getting super low. Right now,
Flash blown.
It's an advantage Glacial Globals right now. Yeah, they did force the flash. They forced the flash out of Sejin. Now, it's crazy because this was the lane that was very, very strong for the side of Glacial Globals, and now it seems like, or not the Glacial Globals, Maria's Dungeon. Now it seems like they're struggling a little bit this time around.
Yeah, for top lane, it just seems like Shen, who's just been winning both sides. Doesn't matter who's playing it.
The double scuttle, the combined might of Never Saw Kiri and Snowy Peaks taking the bottom scuttle, with Dong D taking the top one. Darkfire is just having a real rough game right now, looking like Fire Festival.
Yeah, this is what you want to see.
They're gonna laugh their ass off.
This is what you want to see out of a Jarvan, being so proactive early, ganking mid level 2, and then going for the Raptors.
Oh, hook landed on the Kiri. Flash from Snowy Peaks. There's a lot of action going on in this bot lane. Oh, Kiri solo. One more auto attack might be able to do it. They're going to flash, but the flash from Skylar Toon, the Flay, will get first blood. Here comes the teleport. Who is it going to be? It's the Veigar showing up. Sejin very low, will go down, and Skylar Toon, they are also not long for this world. As Sejin is dead, I promise you that. It's a double kill for the Veigar.
A little bit of a spectator.
This is, you know, it's crazy. So I've known that this has been happening, right? I believe there was an amateur series game that was being played by a couple thousand viewers that had a very similar bug. And I'd seen this a lot on some other casts and streams and stuff that I'm watching when I'm working. And this never happened. I've never had the experience with this personally. I've never actually had this happen to me when I'm casting. And it has now happened twice in the last 2 nights.
Yeah, they still don't have items on my screen, but there is a fight in the top lane.
I don't know what kind of items they have. All I know is some people are doing damage and some people aren't. As Olive Inting are going to have to back off. Hacksaw a level up. The gold leads, I promise you, are not what they seem. As, listen, I can't do the math this quickly, all right? 3, 5, 20.
I can't do it either.
7,800 gold for the side of Globals. Meanwhile, on the other side, 29, 45, 64, 79 for Maria's Dungeon is the rough numbers that I came up with. So do with that information what you will. I already forgot what I said for Glacial Globals, but that's okay.
All I'm looking at is mid lane. He is up around 600 gold. Going to be pretty strong. Hook lands onto the Thresh.
Oh, Kiri in a lot of trouble. Yeah, you're going to go down, son. Skylar Toon picking up their second, but now there's a Fiesta in the bot lane here. Here comes the teleport. Darkfire getting very low. Flag and dragging his way in. There he goes. Skylar Toon down as well. It's a double kill for the Shen coming out of the top lane. We stand united here in this household. And this Shen making good use of that ultimate.
Yeah, such a nice thing to see a Shen making use of the Stand United. Kind of found it hard last game to make use of it, but all eventing is trying to one-up Hacksaw.
All right, I have a question for you, and I have to be honest. You know, we gotta break the fourth wall a little bit here. Did Sion teleport? Because I saw Sion in near the turret in the bot lane, but their teleport is still up. They didn't walk all the way down there, did they?
I don't think he. Listen, I got no idea about Sion. I was looking at the dead Kaisa. That was just.
You're the standard, the T-posing Kaisa.
Yeah.
Hacksaw, if you can hear this, please teleport so we know if you used it or not. We'll figure it out pretty quickly. Don't actually do that. Well, this game has gotten very interesting. As all we can see is that the kills are even doubled. I just realized that the kills are even doubled. It's 4 kills to 2 right now instead of 8 to 4. Thresh has both of them. I think that's okay. Oh man, this is.
I'm just confused. I'm confused.
I had imagined that I wouldn't have a tough time with something like this, but this is so difficult. Oh man. All eventing with an engagement in the top lane. Nice taunt landed there. I mean, Shen just feels like he does way too much damage for what the champion does. I don't know about you.
Yeah, his Q hurts a little bit, especially with Grasp.
I mean, he is 2-0. It would help if I knew what kind of items he had.
I'm gonna assume he's just going tank.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. Like maybe he's going like AP Shen. I don't know. A buddy of mine tried to convince me that back in the day, that first item Rylai's on Shen was the way to go. He never got out of silver. Nothing against silver players. We've seen engagement in the bot lane here. There comes the ultimate out of the Nautilus, forcing Sedging back. Ignite was burned as well, but so far Glacial Globals, while they don't have the kills in the bot lane, it feels like they have the advantage. They're down in CS. They're technically down in kills, even though both of them are on the Thresh, but it just feels like they're in total control.
Expo farming mid lane, which is pretty good compared to his last game. Not giving Neversaw too big of an advantage, but they are going to steal away the blue buff, and he'll be happy about that.
The biggest surprise of this game is going to be when the teams start fighting, and we get to find out what mythics they have.
Just a Gale Force. We're going to see a couple of those.
Yeah, well, we're going to definitely see a Kraken Slayer, at least one. But, I mean, actually, how do you feel about Kraken Slayer on Vayne? Because Kraken Slayer on Vayne traditionally is amazing. Like, you get an extra Vayne passive. It's awesome. But I've seen more and more people opt for Immortal Shieldbow.
I like Shieldbow.
Yeah, I'm also a personal fan of Shieldbow. When you already have a better Kraken Slayer in your champion's kit, I feel like the survivability of the lifesteal is just worth so much. Uh-oh, here we go. There's an engagement in the mid lane. Snowy Peaks finding the hook. Darkfire will manage to get
Lanterned out, yeah.
Did he get lanterned out? I couldn't see.
Yeah, that's
it.
what happened.
Are you sure? Because I wasn't sure if it was his ultimate, and we're just not.
I don't know. It's still grayed out. I don't really know if he has it.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Sion charging down. Snowy Peaks is going to be able to get out of there. 5 members of Maria's dungeon in the mid lane here, but not able to really get much of anything. They did get Darkfire out of there, which is nice. I didn't even know that they killed the dragon. I don't think that we saw the dragon. Did we see the dragon? I just missed it. I don't know. Anywho,
I'm looking at a bunch of different things.
Yeah, this other dragon's up in 3 minutes and 40 seconds. For everybody viewing this, I apologize. I wish I could be better here, but if you've never had this happen to you, it's so hard. The gold lead is, hold on. Wait a minute. If the gold lead's just doubled, we could just half the gold count from up top, right?
Yes.
Oh my god. All right, it's 16.5k to 16.2k. Yeah, I hope so at least. The math checks out. The numbers don't lie. Well, in this case, the numbers do lie, but that's beside the point. Snowy Peak's trying as hard as they can to get an auto attack onto Sejin, but Sejin tantalizingly close, but out of range, just barely.
Yeah, it seems like they just want to hold the wave close to the tower, try to avoid a gank. But he's
Let's
just
play a
doing the
fun
top
game.
crap.
What mythics do you think everybody's gonna go?
Alright. I think Kai'Sa's gonna go Kraken Slayer.
Interesting.
That's what I'm betting on.
All right, why?
I don't really like the Gale Force build with Kai'Sa anymore. You kind of get your E evolution pretty late. They do have some beefy members. While the Gale Force active is nice, she has her ultimate and her lantern. I don't really think that she needs it. And the Kraken Slayer will just make it easier to play these fights front to back.
Well, I do agree with that. However, I don't know, against the Shen, against the Jarvan, against the Veigar, against the Nautilus, you might be priced in to a Gale Force there.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. It's just my personal preference. I like the evolutions. Just get them earlier, spike faster.
That's totally fair. The evolutions are obviously an integral part of her kit. So we do see an engagement, and the Hecarim has gone down, contrary to what you may be seeing on your screen. He is indeed dead. That is one more kill, not two, for the side of Glacial Globals. It's a third. Wait a minute. All right. Is it a third kill on Veigar? I don't even know.
Don't zoom in on it.
Well, there's a fight going on in the bot lane as Kiri is making some things happen. Dead is the entire bottom lane. Vayne getting a double kill, but that displays the right amount of kills down at the bottom. I can't tell whether or not Veigar has 6 kills or 1.5 kills or 3 kills. I gotta be honest with you.
What mythic do you think Veigar's going?
Probably Everfrost.
Yeah, that's what most of them go. I see some of them go Ludens, just try to one-shot.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe that is the case here because your team already has so much CC, and maybe you want to just opt for that. But I mean, Everfrost is the safe choice. There's stuff in League that sometimes you just don't want to think about, and sometimes you just don't want to have to think about your mythics. Be like, you know what? This is the mythic I'm going to get. We're going to call it a day. Now, what are you thinking for everybody else as well? Scion and Shen, are they going full tank? Is this Hecarim grabbing a Divine Sunder? I assume the Jarvan probably has to have a Gore Drinker by now, right? Is Veigar hopping his way up here? He is mad quick with that Predator. Scion
we know he has boots.
To burn that ultimate. Yes, we do, in fact, can confirm that he has boots. We can also confirm that Cassiopeia does not have boots. And if you don't know why, it's because her passive says she can't buy boots.
I'll go one up on the mythics. How many stacks in the Tear of the Goddess do you think she has?
I have a feeling that Tear of the Goddess is probably completed.
You think so?
I feel like she's probably fully stacked. You know how much?
Yeah, she's got to be close to it. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Sky Latoon could be in some trouble here. The box goes down. The engagement from Dong Di. Hecarim popping that ultimate. Dong Di onto Senjin right now. Senjin flashing out as the lantern was thrown. The miscommunication. Skylar 2 gets pulled in and then condemned out immediately and flashes over the wall. A nice hook lands. Senjin will find the kill, but Kiri will take out this Thresh. And now Senjin in a 3v1. There is nowhere for you to go. They're not gonna give it over to the Vayne. Olivinting picking that one up on the Shen. Unfortunately, Shenpai noticed you, and they have killed you.
Yeah, Glacial trying to make this
flavor in favor of Glacial, mercifully trying to end this one.
Yeah, they're trying to make this a quick 2-0.
You okay? Hi, friend. Welcome. It's already scuffed enough, so get in here. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So how do you feel about this?
What is happening?
How do you feel about this farce, Ito?
20-6, but if I count the kills, it's not at all. It's 10-3. What is happening? I've never seen the spectator bug be this bugged.
Oh my god,
Spectator
it's
climb be
bad.
this
So,
bugged.
so
Like,
you know,
there's ghosts being left whenever someone dies?
Cassiopeia taken down by Never Saw. Never saw. I guess Cassiopeia never saw that one coming. Haha. As we didn't.
But she's still there!
Yeah,
She's still there!
we never saw this coming either. I can't believe we're at this juncture right now of it being so bugged. It's 11 kills now for Glacial Globals. The gold lead. Let's see. Quick math here. 28k to 25k. That just doesn't seem right with the gold difference. Hold on.
Nothing in this is right.
Nothing seemed. Hecarim running into the wall and then zipping through the wall. That was a Thresh Lantern. I played enough Thresh to be able to tell. Scion popping his ultimate, getting a knock up on to Snowy Peaks. Now Dongdi has to back off a little bit. Veigar's Cage landed, but no other abilities have landed since. I think. Honestly, it's all just guesswork at this point.
You know what? I'm wondering if there are any other amateur tournaments currently live having a similar problem. Let me see.
Well, there have been.
Has this been
I don't
a
know-
comment?
Yes, I
thing
don't know if you
recently?
heard me earlier, but this is actually not uncommon anymore.
Oh no.
There was an academy game, not an academy game, but like a challenger series game or something like that, like cup qualifiers or something like that. One of those tournaments for semi-pro teams that had a similar thing happen. Casters just kind of had to plow through it. It was really fun to watch. And I have had, as I mentioned earlier, I've been fortunate enough to never encounter this bug until yesterday. Was the first time I encountered it in person while I was casting, and now 2 days in a row.
Nice.
And the thing that's concerning to me is not only is it on the stream, but it's on, it's on my personal League client as well. I can't see this Kai'Sa or this Thresh or the Hecarim. The Hecarim looks like you know how like Lux Shield is like translucent? You know how it's
Yeah.
like translucent? It looks like a Lux Shield with like a couple of rainbow glowies around it because it's Arcade Hecarim. So you see
All
some
of
of the
my
texture.
animations are just messed up right now.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Snowy Peaks has now knocked up an invisible Cassiopeia for me, but you guys can see it, so that's really cool. Cassiopeia goes down to Snowy Peaks. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, that's a pretty sick play there as Dongdi finds Sejin, and Skylar Toon goes down as well. This one going over to Kiri, their 4th kill of the game. I'm sure they got more than a Doran's Blade in their pocket, and Veigar definitely has more than no items after the damage he just did to Darkfire. It's not the 30th kill, but it may as well be at this point.
Definitely feels like it. Not much hope for red side.
Yeah, no, things are not looking too good for the side of Maria's dungeon. After this game, Maria might force them back down into the dungeon as punishment. But, I mean, the game is technically not over yet. They're still in it, you know.
Yeah, they do have a dragon.
They're still participating in the game. And yes, they do have a dragon. And it's Windrake for the soul once again, so it's not too detrimental, although if Vayne secures that, it's kind of scary. If Nautilus secures that, it's very scary. And Shen gets obviously some bonus out of it too. Although, how long does that buff last? Do you know off the top of your head? The movement speed buff?
Maybe like 3 seconds.
So the problem with Shen is that he loses about 1.5 seconds, maybe 2. Because it happens on cast.
Yeah,
so he's
I
just
don't know.
standing there with this movement speed buff, and he only gets it actually for 1 second because he'll finally land and then do something. Snowy Peaks trying to zone off the team. Dongdi is kind of left in no man's land here. Here comes Darkfire coming in. Never saw over the wall. Does
Staying
land the
United.
full Veigar combo. Staying United is coming down. They're fighting over this dragon. I don't know who's going to get it. To be honest, if the dragon dies, I don't know if we'd even know it. Kiri on the back line trying to make things happen. Dongdi picking that one up, but Kiri goes down. Big hook onto Dongdi. Skylar Toon is on the back line trying to do something. Dongdi with the re-engage. Darkfire does go down. Meanwhile, Dongdi is now dead. And now there is some fight left in this team as Neversaw's got to run. Olavinting's got to run. And I'm pretty sure it's a 3-for-1 in favor of Maria's dungeon. They heard the threat of the dungeon and they said, we don't want to go back down there.
That's a lot of bodies in the river. Just sitting
Bodies hit
there.
the river. Let the bodies hit the river.
Bodies stand. They're not on the floor. They're not standing in the floor. They're literally just standing in the river.
What's really upsetting to me is that they're not T-posing. They actually just stand
Yeah.
there and like do their
That
idle
makes it so much
animation.
better.
It would be so much funnier if they're just there T-posing. Never saw
Yeah,
popping
I
the
would
sweeper
appreciate
on
that.
them right on top of those dead bodies. Was a little spooked by them. Might get engaged on here, but I gotta be honest, Neversaw is so strong right now that I feel like you probably don't want to engage on him, but the entire team is here for him. He's gonna blow up Dark Fire. There's no way he's getting out of this, right? The hook does not land. Can he find a second one? No, he cannot. Sejin with a big shutdown, 900 gold in the pocket of the 80 carry. The Rift Herald has gone down into the top side. The turret to Olive Inting, 600 gold in the pocket of the Shen, who is 4-0 right now, getting tankier and tankier by the minute, we presume. I don't feel like Shen is going full damage, but we don't actually know that.
It's nice that Kaisa got the kills. Maybe there's a small chance that they could come back into this game. They do have a Cassio, pretty good late game.
Yep.
But
So much
I don't
fun.
know if they can outscale this Vigard. He is just deleting people.
Yeah, it's problematic. They have an idea that this Baron's going on. Real quick, I want to give props to Sejin. In both games, has really given 110% effort, going plus ultra on these guys, trying to keep his team in the game. As we found an engagement here in the river, Dong D goes in to lock down the rest of the team. But how much longer are they knocked down for? A big 3-man knockup by the Nautilus. Dark Fire in the wrong place at the wrong time as he's on the other side of the wall. Team trying to get around to him. He is going dangerously low. Is he going to be able to get out of there? Skylar Toon going to condemn him against the wall. Skylar Toon goes down. Olive Inting goes down as well. Hacksaw very close. Is going to have to force a flash out of there. They are still trying to chase down. Look at all the damage going on to Sejin. Sejin is alive, actually. I thought he was dead.
I thought I was dead.
I wasn't quite sure if he was alive. It's a double kill. Dark Fire is still running, but Dark Fire died a long time ago. Sejin goes down. Carrie is just standing there. Yes, they are finally dead as XPO killed them, but Neversaw comes in and finds XPO. I gotta be honest at this point, because there's so many bodies alive and so many death timers, I'm not sure how many people died. I'm pretty sure it was like a 5-for-2 or something like that in favor of Glacial.
Yeah, I think Maria's. Everyone's dead there. Everyone on Maria's is dead. I don't know how many died on Glacial.
Doesn't show death timers. Oh, that's so funny. Just standing there until they respawn. They never died. This is like the clean version for kids. They didn't die. They just stand there and they wait.
If League of Legends was made by Nintendo.
Oh, hook goes wide there on the Vigard.
Neversaw. Blow him up. Oh, damn. Yep, just barely missed that one, as you said. Oh, here comes an engagement. Sejin. There's the Everfrost. I told you he was building Everfrost.
Well, and there's a chance.
Alright, so if you are Maria's Dungeon, how are you getting back into this game? I feel like your Cassiopeia is scaling. You're pretty happy about that. Your Scion is going to infinitely scale with HP. That's really nice. I feel like you need some crazy engagement, some crazy picks out of this threshold.
Yeah, they're definitely going to need a crazy pick onto this Vigard, and maybe Sejin can dive into the backline and one-shot him, but it is looking pretty rough. I'm going to assume that Neversaw is eventually going to go Azonia's. Maybe not. I'm not too sure on what he has.
Maybe it just went with like a Rabadon's or 8-1-6. I mean, like, it went for
He did it
Rabadon
last game.
second item, yeah, last time as well. So I feel like that's definitely something that can be done. So Snowy Peaks and poked out a little bit there. Nothing too crazy going on. Is just trying to take the red buff here, jockeying for Baron control, but all the vision on the side of Glacial Globals right now. And the next dragon coming up in about 20 seconds. See if Maria's Dungeon is going to fight over that one. Yep, here comes the engagement. Hacksaw. No, there we go. And the back line is Dong D. Lots of damage going down onto Dong D. The hook onto Neversaw. They're going to converge on Neversaw. Neversaw gets shut down. And now Olive Inting getting taken very low. Somebody's got redemption and it was used, but I don't think it's going to matter. Kiri doing what they can. Vayne trying to chug away at these guys. It's a triple kill though for Sejin. That's absolutely insane. However, Kiri is now legendary. It looks like it's a 3-for-2 from what I can see. I gotta be quite honest with you. It's very difficult. I'm trying, boys. I'm trying.
the dream scenario happened. They got a hook onto Neversaw, and Sejin one-shot him, but getting a little bit too ambitious and flashed in for the Vayne just to get turned on. Not what you would want, because both these teams have such a good Baron, but it will be blue side coming out ahead for this one.
Dragon taken by the side of the Glacial Globals. Their third Drake of the game. They're looking for that Cloud Soul. It's going to help them out a little bit, as we talked about earlier. There's still some fight for Maria's dungeon. Like, they still have some fight left. You can feel it. As we can also confirm right now that Jarvan does indeed have Gore Drinker, as he just used it on the Krugs. So we're learning a lot of information late into the game here.
Yeah, Sejin has Kraken as well. You see it on her hands when she was autoing.
Oh, yep, correct. Got the fancy hands. They tell you when you're gonna die. You know, you just get hit. You just take so much damage. Should be illegal for Kai'Sa to do that much damage. Oh, Skylar Toon getting caught out. A lot of burst coming down for Neversaw. And Skylar Toon gonna walk away on a back, on a ward. I don't know if too much is gonna happen here. Is Hacksaw just trying to hack away at this turret soon, I'm sure. But with the back force, it looks like they are gonna start up this Baron. I was just about to say, like, there's potential here.
Yeah, both teams just melt Baron.
Yeah, oh my god, look at all this damage. Kiri, so strong right now. Just absolutely ripping Baron apart. Darkfire trying to get in there. Is he going to be able to get over the wall? No, big knock up there. And that is going to be the Baron for the side of Glacial Globals. Snowy getting knocked up, getting hooked. The rest of the team's going to have to try to get in there soon. He Neversaw is around the corner. Does get ulted by the Cassiopeia. Meanwhile, in the front line, Kiri is trying to do something. Neversaw does find the kill in the back line onto the AD carry. And now Kiri running away with the fight. It's a double kill. It's a triple kill for the Vayne. So strong right now. On the back line, though, it's the Hecarim. He finds a second kill.
Yeah, they're probably going to crack the base here with the Baron buff. Yeah, they do have it.
You know, Expo is not even at 1 HP. Like,
yeah, I was looking at that.
Yeah, I was just like, I think Expo died in that fight, right? I recall seeing a Vayne triple kill and then Cassiopeia. So, something like that. As the base finally opened up for the side of Glacial Globals, they've got their sights set on that middle inhibitor.
Looks like they're coming back up.
Be able to get more. Oh no. The respawn timers, you can see them on the map, not on the champion icons here. Darkfire trying to potentially chase down Olive Instinct, but the labor will be fruitless.
Yeah, Glacial probably just gonna go into the side lanes now and try to crack open probably top lane. They do have a lot of the towers left up, but they could go bot with the dragon 2 minutes. They have a bit of options that they could go for.
So what I personally love is, and I don't think teams do it enough, is I like when teams stretch the map, especially since you got a Shen, and I like what they're doing here. They're going to send him top lane. There's still turrets up there for Shen to take. You know, you let Shen push out the wave, have a good time. People are going to be forced to go over there. You can control the bottom side of the map. Like, you could just go 1 in the top lane, 4 in the bottom lane, because your mid lane's pushing, or do like a 1-1-3 or something like that, and just overall tax the side of Maria's dungeon, force them to respond and take uneven fights, while you just let Shen do his thing in the top lane and create more pressure.
Yeah, it's definitely the best way to get the most out of your Baron. Some teams do like to just ARAM mid though. It is definitely easier.
No, it's harder. It's actually harder, man. You ever try to ARAM mid? It's difficult sometimes. I mean, like, sure, you know, Glacial Global, you know, they have a team that they're able to engage like that. You know, you've got your Nautilus, you've got your Shen, you've got your Jarvan, but then you're not taking advantage of the Shen staying united, you know?
Yeah, but some people are just worried that they're going to take an uneven fight. Speaking of, good.
Nice attempt there, but nothing doing. Meanwhile, Olive Instinct busting down that top turret.
Paying off right now.
Taking advice. Dong D looking for engagement on Skylar Toon, but Miasma is there. Is going to have to force him off. Neversaw, though, forcing the flash out of Skylar Time there. Or Skylar Toon, I should say. I always want to say Skylar Time. It just sounds like a cool name. Skylar Toon's pretty cool, too. Dragon up in 15 seconds, and it looks like it will be the soul for the Glacial Globals as the side of Maria's Dungeon is forced to head back, cover the middle inhibitor. 2 members have to go top as well to stop the Shen push. And here we are. The Dragon is here. Neversaw is just going to go to the bot lane. Snowy Peak's going to ward around in the jungle as Kiri and Dongdi absolutely shred that. It is the win soul for the Glacial Globals. And this Vayne is going to ultimate and be very, very fast.
Yeah, they only got the mid inhibitor with that Baron, but they don't really need to rush. They did get the Cloud Soul, and they do have a Vayne and Veigar, so they're not too worried about this game.
Yeah. Darkfire just barely able to get out of there. Really wanted those wolves. Don't think they were able to secure them either. Neversaw gonna get the blue buff, I'm pretty sure. I saw 100 gold pop over his name, so... Well, we can't see the buff. In our hearts, we can see that. He's regenerating a lot of mana really quickly. Just seems like a matter of time at this point for the side of the Glacial Globals to get the waves right or to find an engagement as they find it on a Skylartoon. Skylartoon, the burst is there. Not quite enough to kill him just yet. The box goes down, but Neversaw is going to find that one with the W on that Veigar. So deadly, that Dark Matter. The Cassiopeia all going down, but the engagement was on to Sejin. Snowy Peaks goes down. Now Jarvan in the back line. They're all trying to kill this 80 carry. Carry is going to find the kill. Carry is ripping every apart. That's a double kill. That's a triple kill for Carry. Do we have a quad? Yes, we do! Carry with a quadra kill to put the exclamation point on this game, as it looks like Glacial Globals, they're looking to end this one. They're hitting the Nexus. They have no opposition, and at 32 minutes into the game, they might show 66 kills, but it certainly felt like 66 kills as Glacial Globals takes the set 2-0. That was something.
I'm happy that game's over. That was interesting to watch.
That was definitely something. It was definitely fun.
You see the items now? Yeah, he went Rabadon.
Yeah. Look at that. Rabadon's second item, as we expected. Kiri went with Kraken Slayer. Okay. I mean, I felt like maybe they just felt like they were just not going to be touched at all.
Redemption on Shen. I would not have guessed that.
Well, somebody had the redemption. We saw the redemption one time, I think, in a mid lane fight. So I knew somebody had it. And I was like, well, I play a lot of Thresh, and probably not Thresh. And I play a lot of Nautilus. I play a little bit of Nautilus. Probably not Nautilus. Shen does build it, so I mean, I suppose. Man, that's a real thick supportive build right there. All of it's though looking pretty good. Now we see the final gold total, 63k to 52k. It was a 11k gold lead and victory for Glacial Globals. As see if we can potentially see the damage charts here, since we can only see how much. I'm interested to see how much Vayne did. Vayne did 36k damage in a 32-minute game. Absolutely absurd. 7k more than the Veigar, or I'm sorry, 11k more than the Veigar. I can't do math. 11k more than the Veigar, who had the second most of the game. That was incredibly impressive. That was something else, and I want to give a shout out to everybody who watched that game. Hopefully, we were able to convey something to you guys. Yeah.
We got most of the mythics correct.
I want to see an apology. You called Vayne outdated, and look at what happened.
Listen, I played her today. Okay, I still like her. She is a bit outdated though.
Hopefully, we were able to bring something to you guys, because man, that spectator bug was real interesting. Very difficult to actually cast a clean game. Hopefully it was entertaining. You guys, hopefully you laughed, you cried, you wondered if players were actually dead or alive, and if players had used ultimates or took Thresh Lanterns. Because I don't think I didn't see a Hecarim ultimate, and I know for sure that Darkfire used it.
I saw him use it in a Baron fight.
Okay, that makes sense. But that was indeed the last game for the night. Being said, I do have the schedule somewhere. Give me 1 second to find the schedule. We can tell you who you're going to see tomorrow. You might see me tomorrow. I'm not 100% positive, though. Where the schedule? Where's the schedule? All right. So, apologies for that. So, that is going to be it for us tonight. once again, sorry for that really, really rough last game. But what's up, Ito? I believe tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern time, we got the Blonde Toads versus Dino Club.
I don't have
Oh,
it in front
Dino
of my
Club's
face.
back.
You what?
I don't have it in front of my face, but I'm sure that is correct.
Yep,
Because
I'm looking at
sure
it. We
you
got
probably have it in front of your face.
I do. We got Camcom on play-by-play and Cursive on color casting, who was the color caster for the earlier game. And then the 9 o'clock game, we got Cocoa Beans and Dryads with Ito on the color casting. As I said to Ito before, I would publicly apologize. Might not be here tomorrow, but hopefully I will be, because I had a real good time.
That's awesome. I believe if you're not there, I'm pretty sure Camcom, they said that I will. Yeah, I believe Camcom said that they should be able to do that one. I'm going to confirm that they did
Camcom
not make other.
MVP.
Yeah.
Camcom MVP. So,
Do you know them?
no, I have no
Yeah,
idea
I know
who they
that
are.
I know that they do a lot of they do a lot of casting elsewhere as well. So I was just wondering maybe you may have run into Camcom. But yeah, I believe they said that they could cast all the thing. But I was like, oh, we already have someone for 9. So if we only cast 6, that'd be great. So not gonna be like, hey, you know how I said we had someone for 9? We may not have someone for 9. So if
Yeah,
we only cast 6
hopefully
and
I don't overtax them. But tomorrow, 6 p.m., 9 p.m. while you're watching, after you're done watching the 4 o'clock games for NFL football or anything, if you're electing to watch that, you can watch Dino Club and the Cocoa Beans. Maybe you're watching both. You throw up the stream on the side monitor while you're watching Red Zone or something like that, or watching your favorite team. Unless they're playing at 1 o'clock, you're probably not watching a 1 o'clock game at 6 o'clock. But that's beside the point. And hopefully you'll join us for then, because we'd love to have you here. We loved having everybody here. Thanks for being such good sports about